Hi, and thank you for attending today's webinar. Today's webinar is on meal benefit applications for the 2016-17 school year. This is Rose Wolterbeek with the Nevada Department of Agriculture. I'm a school nutritionist specialist for NDA. For today's webinar, the professional standard learning codes are in the 3000 for administration of your program, specifically 3100 for free and reduced price meal benefits. So let's get started. For today's agenda, we're going to be going over the Eligibility Manual for School Meals, the July 2015 edition, the National School Lunch Program application template options, steps to approve a meal benefit application, and some resource sharing. So the Eligibility Manual is updated every year by the USDA. The most recent Eligibility Manual can be found on the following website. Also posted is the Income Eligibility Guidelines for the current year. They were also sent out as a numbered memo, NSLP 2016-33, on March 31st. They're also found on the USDA website link. So these are annual adjustments sent by the federal government based on poverty rates. These are the two pieces of information that are critical in processing free and reduced price meal benefits. So here's a copy of the most recent manual. The first thing you're going to want to do is go out to the web and grab a copy for yourself for the school year. Keep in mind that the Eligibility Manual is usually released in July or August of each current school year. Here's a copy of the Income Eligibility Guidelines. So these are effective from July 1 of the current year through June 30, 2017. And we issue them in chart form as well. So just make sure you have the correct income eligibility guidelines for free and reduced price meals. So here's the website, and on it you will find application templates. So the first thing you're going to want to look for is make sure you're on the NSLP page, applying for free and reduced price school meals. And if you'll look in the box in the middle of the screen, that's highlighted to show you where the hyperlink is for prototype household applications for the current school year. So you'll be looking for 2016-17. And down by the arrow is the 2016-17 household application, available in PDF or Word document. There's also all the accompanying materials available that you may wish to use. They're in template form, so you can modify them for your specific school district or charter school. So what we're going to talk about today is the application presentation outline. We're going to be going through each of these parts formatted to the USDA prototype application that most schools are using for the 2016-17 school year. So Part 1 looks at household members. Part 2, benefits and categorically eligible opportunities. Part 3, homeless, migrant, runaway, or other source categorical eligibility. Part 4, household income. Part 5, signature and social security number. Part 6, a child's ethnic and racial identity and a USDA complaint form. Then we're going to look at reviewing applications and talk a little bit about confidentiality, disclosure, special cases, and 30-day carryover for the next school year. So Part 1 lists the household members. And specifically, we will be looking at household composition. Household composition is based off an economic unit, and USDA defines an economic unit as a group of related or unrelated individuals. These individuals are not living in a boarding house or an institution. These individuals share housing, significant income, and expenses. And individuals who meet these criteria must be included as a household member on the application for free and reduced price meals. So some examples of household might be a mother who resides with her 2 children. That would be considered a household. A father who resides with 2 biological children who have different last names. That would be considered a household. A mother, a father, and 2 children. One child is foster and one's a biological child, and a paternal grandmother who pays a proportionate amount of the rent and utilities with the home that the family resides in. That would be considered a household. So here's a snapshot of the 2016-17 prototype household application for free and reduced price meals. This application can be used posted online, or it can be used with a few modifications as a hard copy application for families to fill out. It's a 2-sided document, so this is side 1 and this is side 2. So the application process by section, we're going to be talking about each of these briefly. Again, section 1 is listing all household members. Section 2 would be if a child is on SNAP, TANF, or FDPIR, or any family member. Section 3 is the area to report your income and Social Security number. Section 4 is the place where an adult would sign. Section 5 lists the types and sources of income. Section 6 is an optional section to report racial and ethnic information. Also an area to post the USDA complaint form. And Section 7 is how you, the sponsor, have determined the eligibility. So Part 2, benefits. So this is called categorically eligibility, and it's based if a household provides a SNAP, TANF, or FDPIR number. So what you want to look for is the Step 2 section, and the question is do any household members, including you, currently participate in one or more of the following assistance programs? SNAP, TANF, or FDPIR. So if no, the family would move on to Step 3, and if yes, they would write a case number here and then go to Step 4. So in the box here is where they would list one case number. And that would be the case number of the household member who's receiving benefits from one of those programs. So the case number or identified listed on the application must be consistent with those used in the state. And in the state of Nevada, this is a 9-digit code. And keep in mind it can start with the numbers 001. If all children are not listed on the application, you must still extend benefits to all known children in the household. And the Nevada Department of Agriculture will be looking for this information in the spring. We will be asking for your April 1st reporting of this paper match. So just keep that in mind as you're processing applications. So Part 3 is Other Source Categorical Eligibility. So this is looking at homeless, migrant, runaway, Head Start, and foster children. So on the Step 1, where a family's listing all household members, there's an option to check if there's any other source categorically eligible status. And the family would just check the appropriate box. And what would be required of you is to see if the appropriate supporting documentation for that status is available before certifying the child's eligibility for free meals. Keep in mind that not all the information is available in the state of Nevada. So other source categorically eligible does not convey eligibility to other children in the household. So the first thing you'll want to see is if your district or school has a homeless coordinator. And that would help with the documentation for this section area here. So if you do have a homeless coordinator and/or for runaway children, what would be required is the child's name or list of names of participating children, the effective date, and the signature of the school district's homeless liaison or other appropriate official. Usually this is a director of a homeless shelter where a child may be residing as well. And so just reach out and see if your district or school has a homeless liaison and can provide this documentation for you. And keep in mind this is a fluid document, so you might be needing to get these on a regular basis. And documentation for migrant children, again, you'd be looking for a dated list with each child's name, the signature of the state, regional, or local official, or the local education liaison. You also could accept a letter from a migrant education director, coordinator, or a liaison provided by the household showing their child's status as migrant. So again, does your school or your district have a migrant coordinator? If so, they might have this information available for you. Other source categorically eligible would be foster children. So what would be required on the application would be the name or names of the foster children, the indication of the child's categorical eligible status. So again, the checkbox in section 1 of the application is checked, and the signature of an adult household member. So the next area that we're going to look at is income. And what this is looking at is the total household income calculation, what's reported to you, and what eligibility determination that you, the sponsor, have arrived at. So in Part 3, the application must list all the names and adult household members. And this is where they would be reporting that income. So the applicant must list the type of income and its frequency. And there's an opportunity to check a box here on what that is being reported to you, the sponsor. So the income should be entered in whole dollar amounts, and if it's blank, then there's no income reported. Enter the income for the participants. It should be entered as the gross income, not the net. So the definition of gross income is the earnings before any deductions are applied. And so you'd be looking at these arrows here on the list of the adult household members and the earnings from work. And again, in that first box in the middle, the big arrow would be weekly, bi-weekly, twice a month, or monthly. Also any public assistance or child support or alimony and how often. And then any other income such as pensions, retirement, or other income would be reported. Again, just looking for the amount in whole dollars and the frequency. Children's income would be reported as well as a total. So a complete income-based application would contain the following: the names of all household members, the amount, source, and frequency of current income for each household member, the signature of an adult household member, the last 4 digits of the Social Security number of the household's primary wage earner or another adult household member, or an indication that the household member does not have a Social Security number. So when the applications are being processed by you, you'll need to take a look at annualizing or converting income to an annual stream. So keep in mind that income should only be annualized when there are multiple sources of income that occur at different frequencies. For example, if there is only one source of income or multiple sources with the same frequency, just add them up and compare that amount to the appropriate chart on the income eligibility guideline. For example, if weekly income is reported to you by all sources, then just compare the weekly amount based on the number of household members to what's being reported to you on the weekly column on the income eligibility guideline. If different frequencies are listed, then you must annualize or convert this income to annual and then make your determination. For example, if someone's reporting weekly wages in a weekly status and monthly child support, that income would need to be annualized and compared on the chart to the annual on the income eligibility guideline for the number of household members. And we're going to get to that in the next slide on how you convert income. So the annual conversion is described on page 53 of the 2015 Eligibility Manual, or it's also listed on the prototype application in the school section. So if income is reported weekly, you would just take that amount and multiply it by 52. If it's reported bi-weekly or every 2 weeks for a paycheck, you would multiply that by 26. Semi-monthly income or getting paid twice a month by 24. Monthly income is multiplied by 12. And again, all the totals are added up to make that determination based on the number of household members and compared to the current year income eligibility guideline. So current income and no income. Current income includes the following definition: the total income for the current month. Current income is projected for the month for which the application is filled out, or the total income for the month prior to the application being filled out. And income for all children is consolidated in one income field on the application. So no income. A household that lists no income by any family member with that field left blank is a positive indication of no income. So when no income is provided, the application is still considered complete and processed normally. Part 5, signature and Social Security number. There is required information on this section. So on step 4, the sign here and print name are required for all types of applications. So whether it's income, categorically eligible, or other source categorically eligible, such as foster children applications. The last 4 digits of the Social Security number or that indication of no Social Security number is required for the income application only. So either the last 4 numbers or the check if no Social Security number box is checked. The address and contact information is not required, and processing an application cannot be held up because this information is not included. So again, there's the printed name of the adult signing the form and that signature of the adult, and either the last 4 digits of the Social Security number or the box to indicate they do not have one. Part 6, Ethnic and Racial Identities and the USDA Complaint Form. So this part is optional. The question allows the applicant to check the racial or ethnic designation that most clearly identifies with their child. So again, this section is completely optional for the adult filling out the application. Also posted here is the USDA complaint form. It is required to be made available, and it must be in print large enough to read. And so this would allow an applicant to go directly to the United States Department of Agriculture if they had a complaint about your program. All the information is available here for them, such as the mail address, fax number, phone number, and email. Reviewing applications. So this is the part where you're approving complete applications. So the application processing, it must be processed and the families must be notified of their eligibility status within 10 operating days of receiving the application. So the application processing cannot be delayed if a household fails to provide any information that's not required. U.S. citizenship or immigration status is not a condition of eligibility for free and reduced price meal benefits. So the best practice here is to get a date stamp and to have date stamping of when the application is received by the school or the district. Keep in mind this may be a different date than when the family has signed and dated and filled out their application. So application special cases. So this is special situations, electronic applications, and mixed applications. So special situations for determination. So special situations would be located on page 29 of the current eligibility manual. And this has a chart of conditions and household statuses that you may encounter when approving free and reduced price meal applications. Keep in mind that families have unique circumstances that vary throughout the year. Once that determination is made, that eligibility is in place for the entire school year. And also, families may apply at any time for free and reduced price meal benefits. Electronic applications, the only requirement is that they must include a data field for the child's status in the following: Head Start, Migrant, Runaway, Foster, and Homeless. Mixed household applications are applications from mixed households. So what that is where homes where children are eligible based on income and others are based on that other source categorically eligible criteria that we mentioned previously in the webinar. So the requirements are a little different, but 1, you must have the names of all household members. 2, the amount and source of current income for each member and that frequency of income. 3, a checkbox indicating the other source categorical eligibility status of a child. 4, the signature of an adult household member. And 5, the last 4 digits of the Social Security number or the indication of no Social Security number. So questionable applications and information. Prior to certifying the children for benefits, the determining official should review the application for any discrepancies in the information provided. If a discrepancy is found, the determining official should first seek clarification about the information provided in order to make a determination in a timely manner. And 2, if the required information is not provided, then you must deny the application with an explanation that it's incomplete and what information you would need to proceed. So common errors in meal benefit applications would be math calculations. Either the frequencies are not listed or the amounts are not correct. Again, when you're doing that annualizing or converting to an annual income. A family member fills out the school section. The number of family members is not consistent. For example, the school-aged children not on an application, but they may make a benefit difference. So there is an opportunity to list all the children. There's also an opportunity on the prototype application to list the total of all household members and children, and these numbers are not consistent. The SNAP and TANF numbers are not consistent with the state of Nevada reporting. Again, the state of Nevada is a 9-digit code, but on the paper application, for example, it might just have 8 digits listed. No signature of the applicant. So for next school year, there'll be an opportunity for a 30-day carryover. So at the beginning of the school year, a child's eligibility from the last year carries over for the first 30 operating days of the new year. The 30-day carryover begins on the first operating day of the school year. And some new districts and charters are in their first year of operation. So the students may have been eligible from another district, but obtaining that information has been a challenge in the past. So keep this in mind as you're starting to process your free and reduced meal applications. Confidentiality and disclosure. So the information used by families on the free and reduced price application is to be used only for determining eligibility for meal and milk benefits and also for a verification of eligibility. So LEAs that plan to disclose the free and reduced eligibility must inform the households of potential disclosure. And also included, you would have to include as parts of 7 CFR Part 245.6 information that they would be allowing you to use this information in other areas within your school district. Page 80 of the eligibility manual and page 83 has a chart of confidentiality and disclosure information and also a need-to-know status. And what this will tell you is who is allowed information to the free and reduced price meal application. So best practices for success. So when you're making corrections or updates, it's best to initial the change that was made and the date. Again, that date stamp is strongly recommended by the Nevada Department of Agriculture. Another area to consider is a second employee making that determination. So again, 2 people are looking down at these applications independently and able to make a determination and seeing if they come up with the same consensus for the eligibility outcome. The third area is just document, document, document. So anytime a family member is spoken to or more information is needed, document that information by the staff person's initial and a date, and or if any changes are made to the benefits for meal applications. Keep in mind that the records must be kept securely for 3 years plus the current year. If there's any administrative review reports or findings of information, they must be kept longer. So if you have any questions on how to proceed with a meal benefit application, the first thing to do is to check your most recent eligibility manual from USDA. The guidance can change annually by USDA, and this is really your best source documentation for any encounter you may have out in your field or within your school system with your families. If you still have questions once you've researched to the best of your abilities, please call the Nevada Department of Agriculture. We're here to help you, and we want you to have the best success out in the field and that the families can get the benefit that they're entitled to based on the information reported to you on the free and reduced price meal application. So with that, we're going to conclude today's webinar. I thank you again for attending. And if you have any questions, please contact the Nevada Department of Agriculture at 775-353-3758. And again, for the training today, the professional standard learning codes are in the 3,000 area for administration, 3,100 for free and reduced price meal benefits. And the total time is about 30 minutes. Thanks again for attending. This will conclude today's webinar.